Investors, welcome back to Green Money Momentum, where we talk about market movements, making money, and money momentum. I'm your host, Trevor, and we are here for Friday's daily talk of stock. And I hope all of you are having a wonderful Friday out there. The markets finally blessed us, at least in the sector that I look at the most, and that is technology. So we had a decently green day within the markets, especially around this sector. Technically, it was still a bearish day, however, as we did have 56% in the losing category. But if you were in technology like I am, a pretty great day overall. And one of our favorite stocks on this channel, quantum computing, announced earnings today, and QUBT shooting up like crazy. We could see right now we are up massively. We started out the day just at about $9, and right now QUBT at $11.35. And this is exactly why I love talking about these technology plays, because with certain plays like this, when the markets are draining, yes, the blood is really bad, but when things do turn around, these assets tend to pump the most, which is what my thesis is on this channel, is that I am investing into all these different technology plays, quantum plays, robotics, and all of that, because the speculation in those assets are going to be very great going into 2026. We are already in this society all around AI and technology. So we'll talk a little bit more about QUBT's earnings later in this video, but it did wake up today, some very positive earnings. So that was great to see. But when we talk about the macros first, really, it was a basically no news Friday, but we did have this. So we were supposed to have news today, but the Bureau of Labor Statistics said that the September jobs reports will be released next Thursday, November 20th. And so this is going to be a very important date to watch for, but I do expect for that time come next Thursday for the markets to be a lot more bullish, because we did have a decently green day today. It was great to see quantum have a very positive day, but also we do have the big earnings date next Wednesday, and that is going to be the biggest technology play out of all of them, the largest market cap in the world right now, NVIDIA. They are going to be announcing their earnings next Wednesday as the bell closes, and once again, they are expected to have their largest quarterly ever. So next week could be pretty bullish if we get a nice earnings report from NVIDIA. And then we do have some other big players reporting that could give us a signal on how the economy is doing. So we have Home Depot on Monday. We have Target on the same day, or sorry, we have Home Depot on Tuesday. We have Target on Wednesday with NVIDIA. We also have Lowe's. And then Thursday is going to be an important day because we have Walmart reporting. So I'm pretty excited going into next week. And what we saw with QUBT today was very exciting overall. So right now, there is a lot of blood within the markets, and where I am looking at investing my money is in all these different technology assets, because I'm going to go to this meme right here. And it's funny because this actually comes from May 15th, 2022, but I feel like this exact same thing is happening right now. This is funny. The guy standing in line for Bitcoin at 33,000, and then everybody else standing in line at 64K. Recently, we have seen quite the harsh sell-off in the entire crypto sector, Bitcoin being the blue chip crypto out of all of them. The rest of the cryptos are following Bitcoin, and sell-off recently in Bitcoin has been harsh for some, but personally, I am very excited about where the asset is currently. As we could see, we have been getting rejected with higher lows with Bitcoin, but now we are very low on the relative strength index, low on the MACD. We are under the 200-day moving average, and we are under $100,000, which is definitely a psychological mark. And Bitcoin, just like all the stocks that we talk about, these technology and crypto assets, Bitcoin could have a crazy face ripping rally that will put the bears in a lot of shock. So that is what I expect with Bitcoin coming here in the near future. Of course, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't claim to. I can't tell you exactly when that will happen. But while there is so much selling pressure in this asset, this personally gets me very excited about the entire crypto market. There are a lot of investors right now running for the hills, and I am more bullish than ever. So I am putting my money where my mouth is, because I do believe that we are going to get a big turnaround here very soon. And if you have been following this channel, you know that is because we have a lot of belief in the Federal Reserve, which recently just pumped $29 billion worth of liquidity towards the banks during this government shutdown. We are coming out of this government shutdown, and we should also be seeing a lot of liquidity within the markets, and the market's still pumping today despite the projection from the CME group going down for the Fed cutting in December. So right now there is actually a higher chance that the Fed does not cut in December, according to this projection tool. I personally believe that the Federal Reserve will cut in December. I believe that they already showed their hands by cutting in September, October, with what they recently did by bailing out the banks with that big liquidity surge. And then also what Jerome Powell said at the last FOMC meeting, which is that they are ending the reduction of asset purchases in December. So they are going to be purchasing bonds again come January. So things are looking pretty stimulative when it comes to the Federal Reserve. And historically, this is best for all risk assets and small market cap stocks and medium market cap stocks, which is mainly everything we cover. So we'll start out here with QUBT. We got to give some love to quantum computing. This was the day for QUBT. Recently, on the longer term analysis, on the 1-year chart, we have been beat down pretty bad. So QUBT has been selling off pretty hard, but this has presented a tremendous opportunity for any investors who want to get into this company while we are low on the technical analysis, because now we are under the 200-day moving average, low on the relative strength index, and then we are also very low on the MACD, and we did see this big surge up today. Now, what I would say going forward for investors, the markets right now, although I am more bullish than ever, in the short term, they are a bit shaky. So just know, because QUBT popped up today, because we did see this big jump, doesn't mean that the market won't eat this up, right? If the market doesn't get better overall, the markets are pretty bloody right now, we could see a little bit of a sell-off again in QUBT, but that is completely fine with me because we did just have their earnings report, and I am holding this play for the long term. There is so much volatility within QUBT, and when we do look at their earnings report, it just came out here not long ago. They are actually wrapping up their earnings call right now, but look at that revenue increase for Q3 of 2025. We saw a big surge up when it comes to revenue, and then also when it comes to their earnings per share coming in at a positive. And with QUBT and the entire quantum sector, there's been a lot of research and development over the last 20 years, but things are really starting to happen, and quantum is taking a quantum leap forward in terms of getting to customers and having more real world use. And so the history with quantum has been decently ugly when we look at the stock charts, but this last year things have went crazy. That is because we are really now in the era of quantum computing. So they did report their Q3 earnings, and with this, they did report a 1-cent profit on the adjusted basis versus a 6-cent loss a year earlier. So there's been a lot of improvement. Revenue jumped 280% to 384,000. Very exciting to see. And then in this article, it also talks about their quantum photonic chip factory out here in Tempe, Arizona. So this is exactly where I am, and this is why I am bullish on this company for the long term, because just this year they opened this foundry out in Tempe, Arizona. And what I could say about living out here in Tempe, Arizona is this definitely has to be one of the most innovative places on the planet right now. There are so many self-driving cars out here. We have Serve Robotics delivering food everywhere. We have the quantum photonic chip foundry out here, and we just have a ton of innovation out here in Tempe, Arizona, definitely leading in innovation. So they opened this quantum photonic chip foundry earlier this year, and they do expect for their revenue to increase in 2026. So I am holding for the long term for this. In their earnings call, I did listen to some of it. They did talk about their strengthened balance sheet, and then also how they have raised a lot of capital this last quarter, and now they have 1.5 billion in capital. This is massive for this company to have so much cash and to be able to innovate so much. I believe that the major moves in quantum really is only beginning. Although quantum has went crazy this last year, again, there's been a lot of research and development over the last 20 years, and investors are realizing that. And right now, China and the United States kind of in a race for quantum. So with all that research and development, we're finally getting the finalized product, and these companies are gaining a lot of value on the stock charts because of their true intrinsic value. And a lot of the spending is now in the past. So these companies could start accelerating when it comes to their earnings. Again, when we do look at QBit on the earnings, we could see that they have had an acceleration recently, their biggest quarter ever. So this is massive. The next company that we're going to talk about in the quantum sector is my personal favorite quantum computing stock. That is QBTS, D-Wave Quantum. And talking about customer acquisition and the growth in quantum, this stock right here, this company has seen 500% year-over-year growth when it comes to collecting customers, when it comes to that customer acquisition. But just like the rest of the quantum sector, there has been a pretty harsh sell-off in QBTS. So we saw highs all the way up to $46, and now we have been chopped down all the way back to $24. And with this stock, we have been following it all year. In this technical analysis, I have here all these different layers just to show where QBTS has sat multiple times this year. And as we could see, we broke through the most recent layer where there was price discovery. We have fallen back down to this level, and we fell once again. So we have fallen quite a bit in QBTS, but we are looking great when it comes to the technical analysis, the relative strength index, and the MACD. And what I will say with the sell-off in QBTS, just like the rest of the market, the fundamentals of these companies haven't changed at all. Just a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And just like we saw in QBit today having such a massive move, this is why I have my eyes on all these quantum plays, because when the volatility does rip towards the upside, these quantum plays tend to run the highest. And so quantum this year going absolutely nuts. QBTS up 3,000% at one point. And something to look for just in trading. You see, this is where I have my money where my mouth is, because there is so much fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the air right now. But I feel that this is just a market cycle, and I want to take the greatest advantage of this market cycle. So what I have been doing is investing in these plays for the long term, and also trading in the short term with these double leveraged opportunities. So I traded within QUBX today. I saw some pretty decent gains. Let me pull it up here. I have it on my phone. But I was able to make a pretty good trade. I got in early enough. And so, yeah, with this play today, pretty crazy. I got in right at the beginning of pre-market. So the stock was just at 440. And then I did sell because this was just a trade for me. I sold in the after hours up 35% on just one trade. These double leveraged opportunities can provide so much return on investment. Now, of course, be safe with these opportunities. And I love these leveraged opportunities because every 1% that the underlying goes up, the double leveraged opportunity goes up by 2%. So if you are doing some day trading or even some swing trading, these plays could provide so much return. It just blows my mind. And to me, all these double leveraged plays really are a blessing. But as I always say, just don't double leverage in these double leveraged plays. Don't over leverage in these double leveraged plays, because yes, 1% towards the upside does equal 2% in the double leveraged opportunity, but it also works on the way down. So always proceed with caution with these assets. But if you were looking for some short-term income or a boost, I love these assets for that. Exactly. Talking about the technology sector, we're going to get into our next stock, which has shown a ton of strength most recently. One of my favorites in my portfolio, a true blue chip company, that is Advanced Micro Devices. Just the other day, Lisa Su, the CEO, came out, had some very positive projections, and did say that she expects for the data center market to be worth $1 trillion in the year 2030. And so I am very bullish on this entire sector. And when we just look at it in terms of supply and demand, there is so much demand for these chips and only so much supply. NVIDIA does provide the bulk of the supply, but AMD number 2, recently they did have a big deal with OpenAI, which also showed that NVIDIA can't take care of the entire sector. So there is room for both of these companies to grow. I am very bullish on this entire sector, and next week I'm very excited for what NVIDIA has to say in their earnings call. I believe this will be positive for both NVIDIA and AMD, as sectors do tend to run together. And this will also be great to see, because I feel that this could help change the sentiment within the markets, because recently a lot of investors feeling a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt from the Michael Burry short, when I did hear that the projection on what he actually shorted wasn't even actually what was reported. So I heard that, the news articles were saying 1 billion. He later came out and said it wasn't anywhere near that. I mean, that would be crazy to put a $1 billion short on the top companies. NVIDIA has constantly growing revenue, and we don't know when Michael Burry actually even shorted this play, because the 13F filings come out late. So recently he has now shut his hedge fund down. That makes you wonder if he had to call up a lot of investors and tell them that he actually lost money on that short. Really, we won't know until the next 13F filing comes out and we could see what was on that. But yeah, that hedge fund is now gone. That is crazy to say. But anyway, the sector tends to run up together. I am very bullish on NVIDIA. It is the top technology stock within the market. So many eyes on NVIDIA. I do expect another killer earnings report, and I do expect for sentiment to start to shift within the technology sector. AMD being super strong during this time of harsh sell-off in the markets. AMD shows a lot of strength to me, because we did have this massive gap up with the OpenAI deal, and with all the FUD that we have recently seen, AMD has still stayed at an elevated level. We have came down on the relative strength index, currently at about 55, and on the MACD, we did not long ago see a bearish cross, but even with that bearish cross, again, the strength within this stock is still showing. So I do expect a reversal here soon enough. I believe that next Wednesday could be a major catalyst for this sector. Talking about cryptocurrency, going back to this right here, we're going to refer to this again, 2022. That is crazy to see the price of Bitcoin. I feel this exact same thing is happening. Bitcoin being eaten up so badly. And a lot of the stocks that we talk about on this channel do have crypto reserves, DJT, MSTR. We also have BMNR, which is around Ethereum. But I'll just talk about basically all of those assets together. We have been in a mini bear when it comes to the crypto markets, but I do believe that the Fed is our friend. And historically, when the Fed funds rate is low, this is when crypto tends to pop the highest. And while we are low on all of these indicators, I feel this is the best time to add to these positions, as long as you were willing to stomach some volatility, because right now we are at 95,000, but so many investors were lining up at the door when Bitcoin was at 110, 120, and all-time highs. So I do expect for sentiment to shift. I do expect for sentiment to shift in DJT, MSTR, BMNR, and all the other crypto plays. Recently, DJT has also been beat up pretty bad. We are at $11 now in this play. We are at the lowest point on the relative strength index, basically, that we have seen all year long. Actually, it is the lowest spot that we have seen all year long. Every other time we reached these levels in the relative strength index, however, we did have a bounce back up. Right now, we are low on the MACD also. So all the technical indicators are showing that DJT is oversold. Now, this play recently has been a falling knife. It has been very brutal for DJT, but I really do believe in this company for the long term. I am holding my shares for the entire presidency of Donald Trump. And with cryptocurrency being in a bear market, in this mini bear, well, DJT, the company, if you don't know, Trump Media and Technology is a lot more than just Truth Social. They have so many different crypto assets on their balance sheet. They have a ton of Bitcoin, and they are adding a ton of crypto ETFs this upcoming year. So this is a massive crypto play, I feel, that is very undervalued. So I'm very excited about DJT. I'm also very excited about MSTR, which has recently been beat up pretty bad, just at now $200. And when we talk about MSTR's premium to Bitcoin sitting very low right now, it's the MNAV, as they call it. The MNAV is very low, and we are very low on the candlestick chart. We are at this major level of support. We are under the 200-day moving average, low on the relative strength index, and low on the MACD. And I watch a lot of videos about MicroStrategy online, and I could say that sentiment is pretty poor right now. So a lot of investors are not happy with what they have seen in this play, understandably so. It has been a very harsh sell-off since July, and it has been a very harsh sell-off since 2024. So this asset hasn't had the greatest time, but this is why I am currently looking at it, because MSTR does have a lot of true intrinsic value, 600,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. I do believe in the long term with MicroStrategy, and Michael Saylor is a very interesting CEO. He has a whole flywheel plan with MicroStrategy. So you have some other derivatives that are common ATMs, tapping those ATMs and keeping this flow going where he could continue to purchase Bitcoin. So right now we are low on all these indicators. I am excited for the future with MSTR. Again, another very volatile play, just like the entire crypto market. So I can't tell you if MSTR will go lower or if we will see a bounce up here in the very near future, but I believe that we are closer to a bounce than we are to a drop because we are so low on the relative strength index and the MACD. And I just want to emphasize to all investors, it is during these times and these great assets when I personally like to add. Again, never financial advice, just my opinion, but if you are looking for the greatest return on investment, it really is best to do when all hope looks gone and when the technical indicators are flashing oversold. Talking about trading opportunities, you could look at MSTU. This is the double leveraged opportunity of MSTR. I am watching this play right here, and I am heavily watching Bitcoin and MicroStrategy because so much volatility in both, and I want to take advantage of that volatility with double leverage. And talking about cryptocurrency, this is a great asset to look at, and this is Coinbase, which is currently right at that 200-day moving average, decently low on the relative strength index, and then we have been falling on the MACD. This is a great crypto play to be in because this is a brokerage right here, and Coinbase and Robinhood we're always talking about because how do they make money? Well, they make money through all the order flow, and what has recently happened with crypto, which may be so negative to many individual investors, all who have been liquidated or who have had to sell at a loss, those who are in pain. Well, that is all great for Coinbase because they are making transactions with every single sale. They also do have their plan where you could have limited transactions or lowered transactions. But then again, that is a membership with Coinbase. And for all of those who are not with that membership, they are paying so many transaction fees. So with all the transactions that have happened with short-term investors being liquidated and selling, this is great for Coinbase. This company is earning a ton of revenue. And just like they say in The Wolf of Wall Street, the way they are making money is all the paper in the equity markets, again, with every single transaction. Right now, there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt within the markets. And again, I am more bullish than ever. So I'm putting my name on the line. I'm putting my money where my mouth is because I do believe that we are just in a bigger market cycle and the market goes up and down and up and down. It's kind of like a roller coaster, right? So I am preparing for the next up that I expect here very, very soon. And right now, while so many investors are panicked, this is where you could make a crazy amount of return on investment by either holding for the long term if you could stomach the volatility, if it still does go down a bit, or again, by trading in some double leveraged opportunities. Because if you were watching the economic news and data and you were in tune with earnings reports, everything like that, you could catch some great opportunities just like I did in QBTS today. QBTS double leveraged opportunity up 30%. Incredible to see. The stock continues to fly. I love the quantum sector. I love the technology sector, and I love volatility. But I would be curious to hear what you all think in the comments section section below. So please drop a comment. Please let me know if you are in any of these assets or if there are any other assets that you are currently looking at. Please leave a like and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I thank you all so much, and I will see you in the next daily talk of stock.